What is going on, everyone? This is Talvaca, and I'm joined by Green is Mean and Hero, and we're going to be doing our CNL Walking Division draft analysis. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So we're going to go team by team, talk about the pros and cons of every team, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm excited for the season. So the first team we have is me with the Carolina Pancham. I talked a little bit, extensively about my team in my draft analysis, but I want to get some outside takes. So Hero and Green, you guys have the floor. What do you guys want to say about my team?
This team is cracked.
But no, your team. I would say it's the best team in the league. That personal opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely think having the first overall pick usually leads to having a decent, well put together team if you know what you're doing in draft league. And yeah, this is basically pure knowledge of draft league and being able to have the first overall pick.
Yeah, I didn't want this pick. We knew that going into it. I didn't want the first overall pick, but I mean, after Jirachi fell to me, I knew I was going to be cooking something. Not even Kira, it was Jirachi. That was the thing that I wanted. Kira, I was like, all right, cool. Like, but Jirachi falling? I didn't expect Kira to fall at all, but Jirachi?
Yeah, something that both myself and Hero have talked about off the records. Golurk as a Terra captain is good. Something else that we thought that you could have went for a Terra captain is Farigarath. Farigarath is actually a pretty decent mon in the draft competitive format.
Mm-hmm.
But Golurk is not anything to sniff at to be a Terra captain. Like Farigarath though, if you want to look at it on a draft scale with being able to Terra, is also just a really good Terra captain that you could have had as well. I mean, you brought back Kilowattrel from season 5, which Kilowattrel's just Kilowattrel's just an insane Terra captain. I don't know why this didn't get Terra banned, just with how well you used it in season 5. But
it was Terra banned. We unbanned it.
It was Terra banned. Oh, you unbanned it. Oh.
Yeah. I didn't vote on that. I was fine with it being Terra banned.
It shows how much I paid attention last season.
Yeah, I did not pay attention at all. I don't even know if I voted on that one.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking, like, if Golurk isn't the best, I will change to Terra Farigarath. Like, I have been thinking about that. I almost didn't. I almost, like, did some changes where I dropped Golurk. But I think Farigarath's typing is pretty good, especially with my.
It is really solid.
So yeah, I'm not really. Solid. Yeah, like it has what two weaknesses in Dark and Bug.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
The rest of my team resists resist Bug basically. So.
Except for Zarud, who's 4 times weak.
Right, but I mean Val, Weezing, Rotom, Kilo,
Val, Jirachi,
Golurk, yeah.
Or Jirachi's neutral to Bug.
Jirachi's neutral, but I mean it's taking U-turns.
Yeah, it's gonna take. Physically defensive Jirachi can take a U-turn.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to the next team, or do you any other comments?
No, I think the Fairy Dragon Steel Core on this team as well, and then a Fire Grass Water.
Yeah, it's all really solid. Like also Shell Smash Blastoise. Just want to
point that out. I'm so excited for that.
Galarian Weezing is also something that's very underappreciated in draft.
Oh yeah, it's versatile.
Really good.
I already have like plans for it. Like I have a lot of plans for Galarian Weezing, things that are gonna shock some people. So be ready.
I will be.
So next team we have the Miami Infernapes, and Green is Mean, and I just want to say this is a top 3 team in the league, 100%. Last season Green got so unlucky, and you were going all in this season, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good.
Yeah, like I know I always try to eat a slice of humble pie. I've talked with both of you saying that this team is I don't see where this is a top 3 team. I can see it. I can see it. It's just I don't I have to wait for the matches to really see how well it can perform.
I mean, you don't have an offensive Terra, which is like a little bit that my only criticism is that you have 3 defensive Terramons instead of like 2 defensive and 1 offensive Terramon. But like besides that, I mean the speed tiers are pretty good. I mean the distance between Azelf and Dragapult isn't great, but at the same time people are going to be forced to run Scarf anyways because of Dragapult. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah,
and then people are gonna be forced into Scarf just because I have the makings of a small little sand core with
It's a good
Excadrill,
Sandcore. It's a
Tyranitar,
good
Gastrodon.
Sandcore. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good
So, like,
Sandcore.
So Sandrush Excadrill is gonna have to be prepped for as well, making people run Choice Scarf. Infernape is a natural Choice Scarfer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so is Thundurus Therian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thundurus can do a lot. We saw what Joey did last season. He used AV in SPL.
And then I also have Sticky Webs.
That's
So
big.
if they want to outspeed some slower. If they want to outspeed slower Pokemon like Tyranitar, who has decent speed but is still on the slower side, might have to force a Choice Scarf there if they see Araquanid in team preview. They might have to change up strategies a little bit. A Pokemon that I really want to talk about on my team that I went with this season, and pretty early in the draft too for such a low point Mon, Arboliva. I think honestly this is going to be a Pokemon that shines. I wanted to pick up Rillaboom, but Rillaboom was just going to be way too many points. I wasn't going to be able to get as many Pokemon as I did.
Mm-hmm.
But Arboliva being able to set up that Seed Sower and set up that grassy terrain for Pokemon like Tyranitar, Infernape, Excadrill, and Overquill, who are all weak to ground, being able to phase off that weakness just ever so slightly and be able to maybe take a few hits from those and stay in and outlive some other Pokemon. Because Tyranitar can actually be a sweeper. Everybody knows Dragon Dance Tyranitar is still a thing.
It's a slept on
it's not,
for sure. We dropped 8 points. It's slept on as like crazy.
Yeah.
And then Excadrill being able to maybe stay in on one Earthquake so it can continue to sweep through Sandforce or Sandrush. Overquill, who's a good tank already as it is, may be able to stay in and eat an Earth Power Earthquake under that grassy terrain. So I knew I wanted grassy terrain on my team, but Rillaboom was going to be way too many points and way too expensive for me to afford. And Arboliva being at 4 points, being able to be a defensive Terra Captain and set up grassy terrain, unfortunately has to be hit and has to take a hit in order to set it up. But Arboliva is so defensive, and with its Terras, it can be more defensive. Being able to set up that grassy terrain more viable and for less points.
Yeah, I think grassy terrain is going to be really nice for this team, especially with Tyranitar. Excadrill, it's a little awkward with. That core is a little weird, but I know that we worked on Overquill and Araquanid, and I feel like those are 2 extremely underrated Mons. And Azelf as well is going to be really... I love this team so much. I think offensively it's going to hit you like a truck, and then it's just Gastro and Arboliva and like Araquanid and Overquill. They're just going to sit there. You're not going to be able to do anything about them. So I easily could see this team being number 1 in the league. It's a ridiculous core. If you use this correctly, it's going to be unbelievable. And the versatility of Azelf and Infernape and Tyranitar and Dragapult, I mean, it's crazy. So, yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, that's something I pride myself on. As I like a lot of Pokemon that can fit a niche for pretty much anything. Like Infernape can do anything. It's not defensive, but you can still run Stealth Rock's Fake Out, Slack Off. So it can still be defensively, but it does get those defensive moves to make it in the type and move coverage for Infernape. Same with Azelf. Azelf is just a overall I can do all things.
It's a very difficult team
that you want
for.
me to.
It's very difficult to prep for.
Because you could never guess what I'm running on. About 7 of these 10 Pokemon could be 4 or 5 different sets.
Oh yeah, week. No, for sure. I can't wait to see the defensive Infernape come out.
Yeah, I mean, even my
Choice
number
Band
one pick overall.
Munchlax.
Yeah, Choice Man Munchlax, or even up at the top, my number one pick of the draft, Dragapult, Light Clay dual screens.
Oh yeah, no, Dragapult is the most versatile mon in draft period. Like,
Yeah,
I was in between that and Valiant, and I chose Valiant because I've used Dragapult before. But Dragapult it's going to be good. I hope it can do the.
yeah,
It feels like it needs specs or band to do the damage that it wants to, because I mean its offensive stats 120 and 100 for attack and special attack aren't crazy. So you do need to, either get a Dragon Dance up or run choice specs. So it's a little awkward in that, but it does cause a lot of prep, and it's very difficult to prep for. So I'm excited to see how you use it this season. I think we should move on.
That's enough on my team.
Yeah. The next team we have are the House of Mouse, which I forgot to put the logo in, and with Yeehaw Hai Yi. And this is an interesting team for sure. I really, really liked the first two picks. I thought that Gouging Fire and Enamorous, besides the rock weakness, worked really well together. But then you picked up another fire type, and then another fairy type, and this team is very rock weak. Very, very rock weak. I like the Tentacruel pick. I don't really understand the Cinderace pick when you have Gouging Fire. I guess speed, it makes sense, but I think there were other speedy mons that could have been taken. I want your guys' thoughts on this team. I think the Terra Captains are actually two of the best Terra Captains. I think Cincino with Tidy Up and Terra is unbelievable, and Glastrier. I think it should be Terra Fairy instead of Terra Fighting. I get the Terra Fighting for like body press and close combat. And also like Lantern could have been a Terra Captain. I know Hero, you were looking at that before the draft.
Yeah. Lantern's really good with its immunities.
Yeah, Miss Magius round 5 was a little confusing to me, especially if you're not going to Terra it. But I think I hope this team proves me wrong. I really like the top 2 picks, and I really like the Tentacruel pick and the Terra Captains, but Cinderace, Rabombi, Mismagius at the 3, 4, and 5 slot felt a bit weird. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I was talking to...
Let Hero go.
Okay.
Let Hero go.
Yeah. Go ahead, Hero.
Well, like I feel the same exact way about Cinderace, Rabombi, and Miss Magius. Like I don't know like what they really do for the team besides speed and sticky webs. Like that's pretty much what they are doing.
You put
for
up
his
sticky
team.
webs,
Like,
but then you also have Cinderace for core change, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, like it's just weird how I guess speed tier wise, like Cinderace 117, Rabombi 124, Mismagius 105. Like it does help out his speed tiers. I just don't know what else besides the speed tiers it really helps his team for. But I really do like Glastrier as a Terra Captain though. That is just something I really like a lot.
It's gonna be such a pain to get rid of. It's really going to be a pain to get rid of week in and week out.
Really
I think it needed Terra Fairy. I like Pokemon in the SPL has Terra Ice, Fairy, Electric, I think. I think those may be the best 3. I don't mind Water. I don't... Fighting, it's ironic. I don't think Fighting Terra is the best. I think you really need a good excuse. Like, I have Fighting Terra on Golurk because I have Iron Fist I have no Guard Dynamic Punch. So that's a little different. Glastrier, I think... I hope it can put in the work.
Combat.
Yeah, close combat. I mean, yeah, it's going to be good, but we'll see. I really like Cincino. I think that's going to put in work. I think this team has some of the best hazard control in the entire league. You have Cinderace with Core Change, you have Tentacruel with Rapid Spin, you have Cincino with Tidy Up. So I think, though, Tidy Up, it gets rid of hazards on both sides, correct?
Yes.
Rabombi is a very strange pick, then. Like, because you have Core Change that would bring the Sticky Web back to you, and then you have Tidy Up, which would get Sticky Web away on the other side. So, I don't know, I think Rabombi is definitely a mon that's replaceable on this team. I think, like, Rabombi and Lantern. Like, you get rid of Rabombi, you get rid of Lantern, you get rid of Vulpix and Berserker, and you combine those points to get something else. I don't mind Cinderace with Gouging Fire. They do different things. I do agree with that. Yeah, I don't mind those two. Yes, it's 2 physical fire types, but I don't I don't mind it. But I feel like you make a few changes, especially around that Rabambi, and I think this team could be much better complete. I don't think there's a dragon type on this. Oh no, there's gouging fire. Duh. Maybe just a better steel type than berserker.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, I was just looking like the steel type is berserker, and it's not the greatest. Like having a good steel type on his team would be really really good.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential, but I think a few changes, and it will be good. But I think we should move on to the next team unless there's anything else you guys want to say.
Yeah, no, I like y'all hit it right on the head. My biggest thing is for his team is Glastier. I do agree that the Terras need to be different because if he did have Terra Electric, like play more in the SPL, it would allow him to pretty much still threaten out ground types from not wanting to switch into it to hit it super effectively just because if it's already been set up a few times with Terra Electric, it's going to one-shot you anyway with any type of ice move. And you're not going to be able to one-shot it back unless you're running like super choice band, big offensive threat ground type is going to one-shot Glastrier from pretty much full if you can keep it that way.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited to see how the Terra Captains work, but I want to move on to the Scarf Staravias and Volca Zero. This team is extremely interesting. They sniped Migrafii, they sniped it, and they have both the past and future form of Volcarona. I think it's very solid Terra Captains. I think Bisharp is an extremely underappreciated Terra Captain. I think Bisharp is better in draft than King Gambit because of the fact that Bisharp can Terra. And Rotom is not a bad Terra option at all for 5 points. Maybe I'd prefer if they went Rotom Fan. It's cheaper, it has more moves, and I think it does have better stats. But to each his own. He has the best... I mean, Regieleki, yes, Regieleki is the fastest mon of the draft, but Deoxyspeed is the real fastest mon of the draft. Regieleki is not. We'll get to that later. But Tread's best spinner in the draft, arguably next to Excadrill. Primarina, fantastic fairy. I'm just the physical breakers are a little bit concerning to me. I think Rillaboom is a good physical breaker, but it's not really. I wouldn't really say it's a breaker. And Slitherwing can put in work, but at the same time has a lot of weaknesses. So what are your guys' thoughts? I think he's going to rely on Bisharp a lot. I'm going to tell that now. I think
he's going to rely on that a lot. Slitherwing and Rillaboom actually complement each other, helping break each other's weaknesses. Like Rillaboom has real hard time breaking like steel types, and like Corviknight specifically, like Corviknight Skarmory. Slitherwing actually gets Flare Blitz, which can actually help it, and they can also U-turn with each other to getting each other in as well.
Iron Moth, I think, complements Rillaboom way more than Slithering does.
Well, I'm talking about like on the physical side, like Corviknight's going to stay in on the Slitherwing. You just click Choice Band Close Combat, and I'm pretty sure that
it gets Flare Blitz. It gets Flare Blitz.
Yeah, and it also gets Flare Blitz, like I said. Like, Flare Blitz is like 80% easy.
Maybe you died to a Brave Bird, I'm just saying, so.
Yeah, but it'll be broken, and then if that's their only switch in, Rillaboom can just Choice Band Woodhammer.
Well, nobody has Corviknight, so.
yeah, nobody even picked up Corviknight.
I'm just saying, like, bulky steals and bulky flying types, Slitherwing can help Rillaboom break, because that's the only thing Rillaboom's weak to, is bulky steals and flyings.
Yeah, I mean, I think flying types do put in a little bit of work, like something like a Staraptor, which we'll get to later, does put in a decent amount of work against this team. I like Primarina a lot. I'm excited to see that mon for the first time in the DLC. And I am very excited to see how he used the Deoxys Speed. I thought it wasn't worth 19 points. I know SPL didn't even have it able to be drafted. I don't want to say it's a bad mon. I think it's a bad mon, though.
Dio Speed is really, really versatile. Like, it's like to me how I see it as it's like a Mew. Like, it can do whatever. It can be physical, special. It can set up hazards, and it can be defensive. Like, it has base 95 in all its stats. That's besides fair. Speed at 180. Like, it's very well rounded. Like, and Dio Speed gets insane coverage. I'm pretty sure it gets like Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. It gets Psychic coverage. I'm pretty sure it gets Knockoff as well. It gets Thunder Wave. Like, it's very versatile.
Mm-hmm. I am excited to see how he uses it. I do think if I had to predict the MVP of this team just beforehand, I really am going to say it's going to be Bisharp. I think Bisharp is a glue piece for this team, and I think people are going to overlook it a lot. And Terra Fairy Bisharp is such a pain to get rid of, especially with that Eviolite. Like, you can't really prep for Bisharp, really, or you either get Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, or you're getting Terra Fairy and Iron Head. So, it doesn't need to even run Eviolite. Like, it can run Choice Band, it can run Life Orb, it's not forced in the Eviolite. It only got an evolution this gen, and it was good beforehand, so I think that's going to be the MVP of this team. I think Noivern's going to put in some work too, for sure, and Grafai is underrated.
Yeah, I was just about to say Noivern is going to put in some decent work against a lot of teams. Against my team, I'm actually pretty threatened of Noivern. It's pretty fast. It hits pretty hard. Another thing is I was also, like a lot of people know, a lot of our people know, the Iron Treasure is something that I was looking at side and side in tandem with Excadrill, but decided to pick up the Excadrill instead of the.
Well, you didn't have the choice.
Well, yeah, I didn't have the choice.
It didn't matter if you.
It also got sniped. Yeah, it technically was a snipe, but I had ultimately decided even before it got picked to pick up Excadrill.
That was me with Jirachi. That was me with Jirachi and Iron Treads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Grafai is going to put in some work. By the way, just letting you know, I wanted them on really bad. I think Grafai is going to put in work for him.
Yeah, I think that could have been a good Terramon for him as well. Being able to Terra.
I actually disagree. I actually think Grafai really doesn't need Terra. It takes the hits it kind of wants to take, and it does the damage it wants to do. I mean, it's probably the best 5-point mon for sure. Maybe next to Fergraf. Yeah. Maybe I'm biased, but it's really good. I don't think it needs Terra. I think its natural type is pretty fine, to be honest. Poison's a good defensive type. Poison's a very good defensive type, which is people always like crap on poison types. It's a good type, especially because of fairies.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I really like poison type. It's one of my favorite types in the game.
Yeah, I do want to move on to the next team with Quiz and the ridiculous Reuniclus, who has a crazy team. I like every single mon here except for King Gambit. I don't like King Gambit in draft, and I think you already have an excellent steal in Heatran. That top 4 complements each other so well, and even Mamoswine. I mean, in Glamor. I mean, this team really complements itself.
To be honest with you, like the first 7 picks are really good. Like Choice Spec, Terra Fairy, Whimsicott is really
it's gonna do damage. It's gonna do some real damage.
Yeah, and he has mons that complement Terra Fairy Whimsicott kind of breaks through everything but steals and poison, which he has a Mamoswine that can do that for him. Like Mamoswine comes in on steals and poisons pretty easily and just click Earthquake on them.
Yeah, Mamoswine.
Hey, you might want to be careful on the steel types, though. You might want to be careful on those steel types. Some steel types can do some major damage to Mamoswine, but I do agree with that mostly.
I mean, he has good switch-ins to steel. I mean, he does. I mean, as much as I don't like King Gambit, he does have King Gambit. He has the Ogre Pawn, which can be defensive. He has Zapdos, and he has Heatran. So it's a very. I don't think there is a breaker on this team besides maybe Latios.
Mamoswine. Yeah, Mamoswine's a breaker.
Mamoswine, yeah, I this isn't a team I would ever use. I hope he can use King Gambit well, because I don't like that mon. I really don't. And the Drifblim pick without Terra is confusing. I think Drifblim really wants Terra.
I had Drifblim last season with Terra, and it was I didn't bring it a lot, but it was okay.
Yoshi was gonna take it with Terra. That was like his whole plan.
And see, he's got great hazard control.
Oh yeah, I mean you have Glamora. You have. Does Zapdos still get defog?
No,
I believe. I thought it did.
It doesn't get defog anymore.
No. A Drifblim does.
I don't even think Latios gets defog anymore either.
Maybe he doesn't have the best hazard control.
Yeah, maybe not. No, yeah, because I'm reverting back to that.
If I remember right, actually no, Latios still gets defog. Oh, wait, actually I don't know. Let me check real quick.
It's funny because on the surface, steel types actually look really bad against this team, but then when you're thinking about how the game is going to play out, I actually think steel types kind of mess up this team. It's weird because it's like
Latios doesn't get defog.
they have
and Zapdos don't get defog anymore.
They have Heatran and Zapdos and Ogerpon, and you think that Steel type and Kingambit, you think that Steel types aren't going to play very well, but Glimmora is their only remover, and like Lottie isn't really going to do much damage besides a Mystical Fire to a Steel type. So I think he may need one more thing to break Steels. He does have the Toxicroak, which I'm extremely excited to see. I think Terra Fire is awesome, because of Dry Skin. Maybe, yeah, I think it's going to be a very fun team, and he has the Dark for Sucker Punch. So again, it just kind of makes Kingambit a little weird on this team. I wish he traded Kingambit and Drifblim and got something else. Maybe another Special Breaker, but actually no, he has Whim, he has Glimmora, so maybe not. I don't know, maybe another defensive pivot, because it's a little frail.
I think he needs another remover. I think he actually needs another remover besides Kingambit.
He needs a defogger in some fashion, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, his team is actually really solid and well-rounded.
I think so too. I don't like Kingambit. So,
yeah.
I hope.
I'm not a fan of Kingambit.
So we'll move on to
OU.
Oh, continue.
No, that was it. Like in Kingambit and OU, perfectly fine. Draft, you can't tear it.
That's a bit underwhelming, in my opinion. Like, just a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay, Kingambit thrives in OU just because it can tear.
Exactly, and here because it can't. That's why it's so low. It went like first round in our draft. People were like, "Oh, it can't Terra." So let's move on to the next draft in Mud's team, in which a lot of big changes just happened, but his team is extremely well-rounded now. He got the round 1 Great Tusk, the round 2 Galarian Slowking, the round 3 Greninja, and then the round 4 Baxcalibur, which insane. Absolutely insane. Great Tusk, the best remover in the draft. Galarian Slowking, the best pivoter in the draft, and it activates Baxcalibur. This team is going to hit like a truck, and it doesn't have that many defensive backbones, I'm not going to lie, but I had Galarian Slowking last season, and you don't really need defensive backbones when you have Galarian Slowking. I mean...
Yeah, that's literally all he needs. As long as he plays it right, it's all he needs.
And he has Serena for removal, and 2 really good Terra captains. Tinkaton could be a defensive piece, it could be an offensive piece, and Electros is... You can have no weaknesses, and good pivot, can run Coil, can run AV, can run Drain Punch. It's great.
Yeah, a lot of work went into kind of fixing up his team and making it what it is now. But like now, what it is now was leaps and bounds better than what it was.
Oh yeah.
I think he had like four or five overlapping weaknesses that were just one. Yeah, I think he just has one. But they were just very, like, if the weaknesses weren't so prevalent, like if they were like lower end types, that it's like, there's not very many high point mons that are this type, or there's not, like it's not something that he's really gonna have to worry about. No, these were types like ground and ghost. I think at one point he had rock. Like, these are all just prevalent.
I think that's his only weakness right now is rock.
Is rock. It's the only thing I think he has left is just a rock weakness. But he's got great pivots into Pokemon that aren't weak to rock now, that he didn't have prior to.
Yeah, and I think having another poison type never hurts, especially one that can run neutralizing gas and it can run levitate, so you don't have to have the ground weakness. So I think he will use Weezing a lot more than he probably thinks. His lowest point mon that can't Terra, but I think this is a very well-rounded team. I think it's going to hit you. It doesn't have a huge special breaker unless Greninja gets activated, but Galarian Slowking was, I think, number 10 in kills last season. Like, it actually did a ton of work. I mean, maybe that was inflated by the last season win in the regular season. We don't need to talk about that, Green. But
yeah.
But Galarian Slowking actually is a huge offensive presence. So, I mean, you can run AV, you can run Shuka, you can run Colbur. It's going to be great, and it's a complete defensive backbone. So, Tinkaton's going to be
and not to mention...
I just want to quickly mention he has Volcanion as a special breaker. I just want to point that out. It's really
that is true, but I feel like it's forced into Boots, every time I mocked last season and I had Volcanion on my team, because I had Slowking and Volcanion, and every time I brought Volcanion, I wanted to run Specs or Scarf, and I couldn't because I was forced in the boots. I think that Mon is forced.
It's like he has a great Tusk with Rapid Spin.
That's true.
And Serena.
And Serena. That's why I wanted to get Serena, because, because we helped change his team a little bit, but I thought Serena it doesn't force Great Tusk to run Rapid Spin, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you're like, you basically, when you're with Great Tusk, you may think you can only really run 3 moves. And if you want to run bulk up or something, it does open up a lot. Like you can run bulk up 3 attack, not run rapid spin, or you can still run rapid spin and run something else with Serena. But
he could make Great Tusk Choice Scarf 4 moves.
Yeah, you run Choice Specs, Great Tusk with Earth Power, and no.
And then Staraptor. Staraptor is, I think Staraptor is probably going to be one of his kill leaders, just because Staraptor with Choice Scarf or Choice Man has great speed and great attack. Like Brave Bird Reckless, is just completely stupid. And for 9 points, I think it's a great steal. It can't Terra, which is unfortunate. It's Terra banned, but still,
it would have been. It can't be Terra. I mean, Terra normal and Terra flying and Terra fighting. That's what you would run. Yeah. You would just kill everything. So it had to be Terra banned. With Reckless, it had to be Terra banned.
Yeah, it has to be. Like it's very understandable that it has to be. I would even draft Staraptor at 10 points. Staraptor is my favorite flying type Pokemon.
I love it. I mean, that and Kilowattrel for me, for sure.
Yeah, I love Staraptor. So, honestly, Staraptor, I think, is going to be a Pokemon that he very, very, very seldomly leaves behind.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of how hard it can hit, how fast it is. It's a stupid mon. That's the end of the line. It's good. It's too good.
Yeah, so let's move on to the Fairfield, Ferrothorns, and Mental Mark. I know that this is his first draft league since Oros, so I'm happy he is back. And he did a draft analysis on his own. I will leave a link to that down below, hopefully. And if I don't, I'll edit the description. But check out his channel. And he drafted Roaring Moon in the first round, and that's what I did in my last draft. And Roaring Moon is extremely, extremely, extremely underrated. Extremely. I mean, this mon is so stupid. You run Dragon Dance, you run Booster Energy, you run Acrobatics, you run Knockoff, you run Dragon Claw, you run Iron Head. I mean, who cares about a 4x weakness to Fairy when you're clicking buttons and killing all the fairies? It gets Earthquake as well for the Steel types. I think it gets all the Fangs as well, maybe, unless I'm tripping.
I don't know if it gets Psychic Fangs, but I believe it gets
Thunder, Fire, Ice.
I don't know.
I really like.
No, it gets Fire Fang.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it has more coverage. The Gengar pick at round 2, I didn't really understand. When I watched his draft analysis, I understood it a little bit more, because he wanted a fast mon that would resist Fairy. Gengar, yes, it technically resists Fairy, but Gengar really doesn't take hits. But I think it actually complements Roaring Moon pretty well, and I'm excited to see how he uses it for sure. And
something. Gengar and Metagross picks, I really do. They complement Roaring a lot.
Yeah, those 3 honestly work.
Honestly, he probably could have dropped Gengar, in my opinion, and just went with the Metagross and then picked something a little bit higher that could complement Roaring Moon. But it's not bad.
He could have picked Galarian Slowking. It
gives him a good speed here.
Galarian Slowking was the next pick. He could have picked up Galarian Slowking, and that was my combo last season. And that was a stupid combination. That was dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Because, but yeah, with the Metagross as his 3rd pick, I don't think he needed to have a Fairy Resist as his round 2 pick, but something that would complement Roaring Moon and maybe a different defensive area. Metagross already pretty much covers all of Roaring Moon's weaknesses, and Roaring Moon pretty much already covers all of Metagross's.
Yeah, I mean, my big take, so I personally, I love the Reggie Rock Terra. I think that's going to put in so much work. I thought that was one of the best Terra captains on the board, so, and Ursaluna Blood Moon as well, that's going to click button, so you have, you're almost forced to run AV against this team because of Gengar and Ursaluna, but then you still have a Roaring Moon and Metagross to deal with. My only criticism is Regieleki. Regieleki is not good in draft. Yes, it's a spinner, but he also doesn't have a fire type. So if I were to recommend anything, maybe dropping like Alolan Doug Trio and Regieleki, or I know he likes Minior, so don't drop Minior. Minior's a fun mon. But maybe dropping those two, picking up a fire type like Entei or something. Because
he could really.
He does have a ground weakness. Like he has.
He does. Yeah. Ground types actually do. He definitely may need a Levitate mon or another flying type. I like the Galvantula pickup a lot though.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. Like, it helps out. It makes, like, he can run Banded Moon and still have like that speed boost with webs. Like the webs really help out his team.
Yeah, and something like Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr gets helped out a lot by sticky webs. That like Conkeldurr and Galvantula are like those Gen 6 staple draft picks are Conkeldurr and Galvantula. Like, even back in Gen 6 days, like, I remember Shady Penguin drafting Girder, just because Girder and Conkeldurr back in the Gen 6 days were just really good, paired with sticky webs.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a really underrated team. I think all the Terra captains honestly are pretty good. Terra Normal Sneasler is interesting. We'll see how that works. But if I were him, I would have. Terra doesn't look, or Normal doesn't look right, but I would have had Dark Ice and Fairy, maybe Dusknoir.
Or fighting.
Yeah, or fighting, just something like that. But I think it's gonna be a good team. I think Minior could put in some work. I think Ursaluna Roaring Moon is a stupid physical special combination, and yeah, I'm excited. So you want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Yoshi Blaze in his return to draft, and out of everyone, no offense to all of you guys, I'm more excited for Yoshi joining than anybody else joining by far. I'm
not that excited. I owe him $50.
You owe him $50, right? So, if you guys don't know, Yoshi has taken a large leave of absence from draft, but he's helped us all in draft for the past year or so, and is a great friend to all of us. And he came back, and his team getting Darkrai at the 8th overall pick is terrifying. And then he got Sneasler.
Like, how did it drop to 8th?
It dropped to the second round in Raging, I think, or Gouging.
It did.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
it did. Raging, it dropped to round 2.
In that draft, dude, god damn it.
Trevenant was also drafted in the 4th round, but we won't talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that.
But the fact that he has Darkrai and Sneasler is kind of insane. Like,
he was going to draft Sneasler in the 1st round if Darkrai didn't land to him. Like, that was the plan.
Yeah, but somehow Sneasler he got both. Like, it's crazy that he has Darkrai Sneasler.
And Aloe is a fantastic Pivotmon. He has Raikou, which is a fast Pivotmon. He's Florges for Wish Pass. I mean, he may have the best 2 Wish Passers in the entire game, arguably. And this mode, by the way, this Psychic Terrain mode is so stupid. It's so dumb. Like, Indeedee and Iron Crown with Expanding Force. He has Sneasler for the Unburden boost. He also can't get hit by like priority moves like with Darkrai. So if like So I mean, this is just Torterra. People are like probably gonna be like, oh, it's Torterra, I can't tear it, dude. This thing is a defensive beast, and he has the ice resists and Crown and Aloe and.
Technically, he can still go Show Smash Torterra. He can still run it, and you can't hit it with priority.
Right, exactly. It's like it's stupid. He can still run like Psychic Seed on a bunch of mons just to get the defense boost, and run like a bulk. Like, yeah, I mean it's great. I mean, my only flaw with this team is I'm not the biggest fan of the Terra captains. To be honest, I don't think there's a Terra captain that stands out.
To me, Braviary, if you can use Braviary right, it's really really good. It's like Braviary is really hard to switch if you click the right moves at the right time. Like, Choice Banded Brave Bird from Braviary is going to hurt. Like,
yeah. I think I definitely think it's the best Terra captain. I think he's going to definitely, like, I feel like Yoshi's the type of guy that he's going to bring, for the 8 weeks, he's going to bring 2 of these guys 3 times and 1 of these guys 2 times. But I feel like he's going to bring them all pretty equally, and you need to prep for all of them. They're all probably equally as good.
Sandslash with Terra Ghost is actually really underrated in my opinion because it gets spikes and stealth rocks, and it spins, and it can block other spinners. Like, Sandslash is actually pretty good as a hazard setter lead as
I'm,
well.
I'm very excited to see
Yeah.
how he uses it. And then he has also Sarah Ledge, which is just kind of sitting there, and then you realize how powerful it is, and it's going to be very good. So I'm very excited for Yoshi's return.
The thing is, I want to point out this team. He can bring any of these 12 mons any week.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like they all have like positive matchups and everything.
Yeah, the only downside is he does have a glaring ground weakness with his within his top 4 and his final pick in Sarah Ledge.
Right.
But he does have a Torterra to switch.
He has a Torterra and he has an Alamola.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's got enough switch-ins that make it kinda more on the more irrelevant side. But if he does want to bring like a mixture of Sneasler, Iron Crown, Raikou on the same team, and if he needs a fire type Sarah Ledge on the same team, he's just gonna have to be careful, and he's gonna have to bring stuff like Florgism, Lomola, Torterra.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I know he's really going for size spam, and Iron Crown is I really am interested to see what that does.
Yeah, same. Like I was excited when he actually drafted Iron Crown because I was like, it's never been used.
It's never been used. No.
Gobalion's my favorite of the 3, and I really like Iron Crown.
I feel like if anybody could have drafted this mon to make it work, it's gonna be Yoshi.
It was Yoshi. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I know that when I do mocks with him, he's probably gonna kick my butt because he's gonna pull out some crazy things. But enough about Yoshi. Let's move on to Royzer and the Bullet Punch City. And I hadn't looked too much into this team, but this team is like really bulky,
and it's really solid. Yeah. Well, this team is very, very solid.
It's very solid. Like Fortress for spin, bulky as heck. Iron Hands is so underrated. That thing was the bane of my existence last season. That thing is so tanky, and its weakness is like basically ground and like, yeah, it has a fairy. Like he kind of does have a big fairy weakness. I'm not gonna lie, but he has Moltres and he has Fortress. So it's like, does he? As well. Yeah, well, Monkey Dory is frail. It's a Gengar.
But it has good SPDF. That's the thing. It has good SPDF.
It does. Okay. I didn't know that about Monkey Dory. Avalugg is very good defensively, and with Terra, it's good. It has what defense?
Monkey Dory is alright. It has 88 HP, 90 SPDF. Like it could switch into a Moonblaster too.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
Like it's solid.
That's solid.
AV4 move Monkey Dory.
Like actually, he doesn't really have a fairy weakness. Like Sylveon can switch into fairy moves.
Well, Meowscarada, I guess, and Flygon, but Flygon's probably going to go Terra. I like the Terra Poison actually more than going Terra Steel. I do.
He was weak to fairy, and so he went Poison.
Yeah, he could have gone Steel, but honestly, I think I like the Poison more because he has kind of a fighting weakness with Meowscarada and Bundle, and Avalugg and Furret, but
he's also only weak to Psychic with Terra Poison.
It's a very solid team. I think maybe my only criticism is, I mean, I was going to say it was like special breakers besides Bundle, but I think Monkey Dory can be, and I think...
he has Moltres. Moltres has 125 special attack.
Damn!
Yeah, Fire Flying is really hard to
And I mean, a lot of people aren't going to appreciate a Pixelate Hyper Voice choice specs from Sylveon.
That is true.
A lot of
that
mons don't appreciate that either.
Hyper Beam.
Breaker.
Yeah.
My issue is he doesn't really he doesn't have a fighting not a fighting but a physical breaker. Like
Iron Hands is a physical breaker.
Yeah, I'm just saying Iron Hands is his only one though.
Well, Flygon, I mean, you get a Dragon Dance off of Flygon, and Meowscarada runs Choice Band knockoff. I mean, it's gonna do some damage. I like his physical more than I like his special. Personally, I don't like Bundle. Here's the thing about Bundle. If Bundle got Surf, I would be like, hell yeah. 100%. But it just having to rely on Hydro Pump is such a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I do like this team. I think he'll bring. I hope he brings Furret. Because Terra Normal and you have Tidy Up. Underrated, very good 2-point mon.
Furret seems like a fun mon to use.
Oh yeah, if it was there when I drafted Kamala, I would have taken it 100%. Like that mon's funny. I do want to move on to the owner of the CNL, who brought us all together, Gwyd, and the Sacramento King Shield, who decided to go all the way back to Gen 5 for his first for most of his picks. I mean, besides the Dunsparce and like Screamtail and Spite Ops. I mean, Typhlosion.
From Gen 5 and below. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's basically a Gen 5 team, but it's this team is so bulky. Like, how do you break through the regen core of Torn and Amoonguss, and then break through Registeel, break through Mandibuzz, break through Screamtail, break through defensive Garchomp, Rotom? I mean, the Dunsparce with Coil, Hitmontop with Intimidate and Rapid. I mean, this team, it doesn't this team doesn't do a ton of damage. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't, like, besides like Garchomp and like set up Registeel to Dunsparce, it does not do a lot of damage. And Typhlosion.
And Choice Specs Typhlosion.
Yeah, Typhlosion.
Yeah,
but
Typhlosion.
I mean, he could literally just outbulk the opponent.
Like, that's
there's nothing.
That's essentially what he can do here.
He has really good speed tiers too. That's the thing with the bulky team he has. Like it goes from like 121 to 111 to 102,
yeah,
to 90 to 86. Like it has perfectly good speed tiers all the way up to from 120.
The Dunsparce is gonna be so dumb to get. Like, I don't know why we allowed this thing to Terra. I was not for this thing to Terra. I don't know why.
I agree. I don't know why people allow Dunsparce to Terra. Like it's strong.
It has like, Roost, it has Coil, it has Boom Burst, it has Calm Mind. I mean, Thunder Wave, Headbutt. I mean, this is not a joke mon.
Yeah, like I want to point out, like, he can run Choice Specs and Terra normal Dunsparce with Boom Burst.
You just kill things.
Yeah.
Like
if you don't have a Ghost type, that's gonna 2-hit KO.
Yeah, no, 100%. And if you do have a Ghost type, then you're losing to Typhlosion, or you're losing to Terra Ghost a Dunsparce, or Mandibuzz even. So,
yeah.
Offensively, I'm not the biggest fan of Gwyd's team. Defensively, it probably is the number one defensive team.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's the most defensive team out of everyone. Like, it's really, really solid. Like,
and all the recovery is so stupid.
Like you said, his team has a hard time breaking other teams, but like we have a hard time breaking his team. That's the thing.
That's the thing. So I think all the battles with Gwyd are going to be very long, and afterwards, I think we're all going to hate Gwyd. So we may kick him out of his own league after this.
I mean, he's also got sticky webs for speed control on Spite Ups, even though it's not a mon that would probably come every week.
Spite Ups is a real mon. Spite Ups is a real mon.
Oh yeah. Too, and it's really good. Spikes and T-Spikes.
The Dunsparce also runs Stealth Rock, Screamtail, Stealth Rock, Chomp with Stealth Rock and Spikes, Amoonguss with Toxic Spikes. I mean, yeah, this is...
Does Amoonguss get Toxic Spikes?
I'm pretty sure it does.
If it got Toxic Spikes, okay, no it doesn't, thank God.
Oh, I thought it did. Okay, never mind. Okay, well, let's move on to a team that I don't want to face any of these teams, but a team I rather face because I just don't want to deal with Gwyd's team. Jason Gallade in the Grand Canyon Gallades, and his team is, let me get off this, it is really stupid. I think personally he has the best trio of Terra captains in the entire league, like just by power of each. I think Electrode is extremely good. Basculin, I mean, he's going to they're just going to run Terra Water. You click Terra Water, Adaptability, Wave Crash, and you kill something, like every time.
Even if something comes in revenges.
Oh yeah, no. Golden Go, Clef, Quaquaval is a stupid combination, and then you have Tinglu, you have Bulky Shaman, Embor's gonna put in work, and Knuckle Stack. I mean, we know Knuckle Stack. I mean, we know Knuckle Stack. My only complaint is I don't like the Terras on Knuckle Stack. I last season ran, I think, Fairy Ghost, and Ghost. I think you need Ghost, because Ghost puts in a lot of work.
Yeah, I think he could. Water's fine. I think Rock, Fairy, Water would have been fine, but like,
me too.
Poisons really only works well with Garg, in my opinion. That's just
I don't like Terra Poison, but this team is so bulky as well. It's Clefable, Tinglu, Shaman, Deoxys Defense, and Knuckle Stack.
Yeah, the team is actually pretty bulky.
Now there is one big complaint. There's one big complaint, and I think it's the big elephant in the room, and it is the speed tiers. Yes, you have Hisuian Electrode. Hisuian Electrode is going to be faster and everything. Well, your second fastest mon is Shaman. So that's the issue. And people are going to run Choice Scarf against you for Hisuian Electrode and Quaquaval, because people are probably going to try to outpace +1 Quaquaval.
You just need one Choice Scarf mon that's faster than Quaquaval, and it speeds Electrode.
like 90 base speed mons that can hit Quavel and Goldingo are going to put in work here because you're never going to run Choice Scarf Electrode unless you're a madman. Unless you're facing like Dragapult, which
yeah, absolutely expects in the right choice card.
yeah, but I think it's a very bulky team. I think Dragalju's a little early. But I like the Tinglu pick. I love the Shaman pick personally. I think Shaman puts in. I wanted Shaman. It puts in a lot of work.
See, I like the Shaman because I had it last season.
Mm-hmm.
I had Shaman last season, and something that I didn't really figure out until like pretty much towards the end of the season is I noticed that pretty much every time I played against somebody, they were really, really, really heavily prepping for defensive Shaman. So that's something that's something that a lot of people look at is just Shaman. Yeah, and a lot of people just prep for Shaman, and it's hard to do so because Shaman is one of those mythical Pokemon that has 100 in every base stat, and can pretty much do whatever it wants.
It can do whatever it wants.
It's something on his team that everybody's gonna prepare for, and if he doesn't bring it, then you've pretty much wasted some move slots on some Pokemon that you might have been able to free up. So 100%. Shaman's one of those Pokemon that could or could not come to each battle, but is always going to be prepped for by every coach.
100%. And I mean, there's a Deoxys defense also sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's going to take hits and it's going to set up later. I mean, Tinglu and Deoxys defense are just going to set up stuff, and then Golden Go's the best hazard, like not let them hazard remover in the game. Yeah, spin blocker, defog blocker. It's a good team, I feel. I hope Rufflet comes to every game. It's the best spawn of the team. It's a very good team, though. The only thing, like, if there was even, like, a little gap between Hisuian Electrode and Shaman, like, Emboar, like, maybe having a faster fire type than Emboar. I feel like if you went Emboar, you should have had it as a Terramon, and he doesn't. But I think with the Terramons he went, I like those Terramons.
I think, like, this is just a personal thing. Maybe, like, if he had, like, Delphox or something over Emboar, like, that would give him
Delphox.
Like, 104, 105, like...
Yeah, Delphox actually would go crazy on this team instead of Emboar.
But I get why he brought Emboar. Like, Emboar, it's a really strong physical breaker. It's really, really strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has a lot of physical breakers. I think Golden Go, yes, can be special breaker, but I don't like the special breakers as much. But it's a very solid team. This team's going to be dumb to prep for, and especially when you have 3 Terra Captains that could come every week. I don't know if there's going to be a week he doesn't bring a Terra Captain because they're unbelievable. But my only criticism is the Poison Terra. But if that's my only criticism, besides the speed tier, that's a pretty good team. So I want to move on to the Terratorts and Torterrarad, who drafted Terapagos round 1, and has a very solid team. I think I want to make the statement that Rhyperior is the best Terra Captain that was available.
I would say top 3 because
it's 100% top 3.
Yeah,
Delphox didn't even get drafted.
Yeah,
Delphox didn't even get drafted.
Like me, I kept trying to want to draft Delphox. It's just I had Colossal. Like,
we'll get to you. But we have Terapagos and we have Lando and Laddie, and then he got Iron Boulder like round 7, which was insane. Alolan Muck, which is going to take all of those hits. Its only weakness is ground, and you have a Landorus, a Latios, a Rhyperior that wants to take those hits for weakness policy, and a Jumpluff. But I like Terramabostiff is going to be threatening Stakeout. I mean, doing all that damage. I'm just very curious about how he uses Terapagos. I mean, you could say it's the best spinner, weirdly. Like with Grey Tusk. This mod's either going to be really good or really disappointing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I
don't think there's a middle ground.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a middle ground for this Pokemon.
I think it could be really good, though, if it's brought to its full potential. It has really good options. It gets, like, every move offensively, and it gets Calm Mind. It doesn't have Recovery, I don't think, besides, like, Rest. But he has Lottie and he has Scizor, which work really well together in Rhyperior. And Empoleon is fantastic as well for stacking Stealth Rock and flip turning out and doing damage. I like Scizor and Empoleon having those 2 steals. Because they're not similar at all. They don't do any of the same things.
Fun fact: they don't share a weakness either.
No. So they're like, if you're gonna draft 2 steals, yeah, do exactly what Torterra Red did. Do exactly that. And Iron Boulder, like it feels weird on this team because he has the Lottie and he has the Rhyperior, but it gives him another speed tier and it does different things than Rhyperior. Rhyperior wants to take hits and Iron Boulder wants to dish them out. So we'll see. I'm excited. And Ampharos is not a laughing matter. You get up 1 agility and you tear a Fairy Dazzling Gleam and you're gonna do some damage. Like it's not a nothing mon.
And see, that's a Pokemon I had last season as well on my team was going back to Scizor. Mm-hmm. And Scizor, I think, put in some of the most work on my team out of every Pokemon I had on my team last season.
It's such a good mon.
Like it's so good. It is so good, so underrated, so undervalued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be a fantastic mon. I think Torterra, we all just met him. He's been super nice to all of us. We love his vibe. So he's been really fun to have around. So I'm excited to see his team. I'm rooting for him.
He's another Gen 4 brother.
Yeah. All the Lando and Laddie and Scizor, Rhyperior and Empoleon. you could tell.
Yeah, he's another Gen 4 brother like me. He had he had Torterra for his logo and Fernape for mine.
Hey, and he drafted Empoleon.
Yeah, and he drafted Empoleon, even though we won't get into that because I'd be sitting here for like another 10 minutes on why I hate Empoleon. But
damn, okay, we're not going to go into that. But let's go into the worst team. No, I'm kidding. Let's go into Heroes draft. I think me and Green should talk a little bit about our thoughts, and then Hero, you can go into your analysis. So that sounds good. This team is stupid, and good, stupid good. It's like you look at the top 3 mons and you go, oh my god, there's a big fairy weakness, and then you go and you say, oh, there's a Skarmory, okay. Then you go, oh, Colossal. Well, Colossal isn't that good, and then you go Reverum, and Reverum is going to take the hits and dish them out. I will let everybody in this league know right now, Hero is the greatest Colossal player to ever walk the planet. Hero used Colossal last season like Gordon Ramsay makes a beef Wellington. This man cooked so hard with Colossal. Every time I prepped against this man, he murdered me with a Colossal. And I never prepped for it, and then when I did prep for it, he murdered me with a Colossal. So don't underestimate this mon. Don't underestimate Hero, because this Colossal is going to do damage. But overall, I really like this team. I like the speed tiers. It's going to do damage. You've been wanting to use Annihilate forever. And Hisuian Zoroark's going to be a pain in the butt, because it just sits there. And you have to prep for it while you're playing the battle. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this team. And also, Porygon 2 is a dumb mon. I shouldn't have recommended that to you. But, Green, what are your thoughts before Hero goes into it?
Yeah, like you said, there's just a lot of good potential on these Pokemon. Like he doesn't have a Pokemon that's above that 17 or 18 point threshold, but honestly, if you look at teams, they don't have to. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you got to draft those high up there mons. You got to pick a 17 point mon. Like Chi-Yu didn't get picked in the entire draft, so that's a Pokemon that's in 17 Crazy. That's still available that he could have picked up or something like that, but. For this team composition and knowing prior to that he was going to go into Colossal into the later rounds, he didn't really need Chi-Yu or anything anyway.
No.
But the team is already so well rounded and well put together, and we helped him out with some of it, and he had some help with some good friends to put some Pokemon where they needed to be. Mm-hmm. But once we figured out that right balance of power. Did this team really just start to shine? Hisuian Zoroark was one of the recommendations I made to him to switch out after the draft was over. I love Hisuian Zoroark. Like you said, it makes you have to prep during the battle because you don't know, hey, this could be Hisuian Zoroark. This could be Hisuian Zoroark, so I have to play as if this is Hisuian Zoroark. And then if you play as if it's Hisuian Zoroark and it is Hisuian Zoroark, you may get rewarded or you may get punished. But if you don't play as if it's Hisuian Zoroark, you're always going to get punished.
Yeah.
You're always going to get punished.
You basically always have to make battleground plays, which is crazy.
Yeah. It forces you to play the mid game, and playing a mid game is never never a good thing if you're being forced to play it. Skarmory, just overall, just a good defensive Pokemon. I love Skarmory. I've loved Skarmory since I saw it in Gen 2. I'm, of course, older than I think everybody in this video right now. I've been around for most of these Pokemon inceptions. Donphan is actually in my top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time. I love Donphan. I had Donphan last season. Perfect. Salamence is my favorite Dragon type. I even thought about picking up Hisuian Samurai, but didn't want to snipe Hero on his pick.
You weren't taking it second overall.
But yeah, he took it second overall. Like I didn't think it was gonna go that fast. I didn't think it was actually gonna go that fast. But I thought it was gonna make its way back around. But then once they said that Hero was planning on taking it, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna let him take it. You go ahead and take it.
Yeah.
Hisuian Samurai is just a great Pokemon. I use it on a lot of OU teams. That I play in game and on the ladder. It's just so versatile, so good. Annihilate, I haven't really used Annihilate much, personally, but I know how good that Pokemon is.
Mm-hmm.
Porygon 2 has been a defensive menace since Eviolite was invented.
Yeah.
So going back to Gen 5, Porygon 2 has been just an amazing offensive or defensive threat. I saw what he did with Colossal all last season. Colossal's just absolutely bonkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Hero, you wanna dig into your team real quick?
Yeah. So the very first thing I'll be honest with you, I did not expect Annihilate to drop 13th. Like that's the thing that surprised me the most, that I actually got Annihilate. So when I saw Annihilate drop to me, I was like, well, screw my entire plan. I'm just going to draft Annihilate. And then I went Samurott because it's just, I was a guy, last season, I just I never wanted to click Stealth Rocks or Spikes or any of that. So just it has Sea-Sludge Edge to get those hazards up for me. And pretty much my plan is to just hazard stack people and have Annihilate come in on your Rapid Spinners and Defoggers so that you can't remove. And if you end up defogging on me, I'm going to get that Defiant boost. That's right. The main idea that I wanted to hazard stack with my team. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to draft Colossal again because last season I had a very, very shitty team. I did not like it at all. But Colossal I absolutely love, and I wanted to give it one more shot on an actual decent, good team.
Still made playoffs. Still made playoffs.
Yeah, still made playoffs. But my team was terrible, like god awful. Probably the worst team I drafted.
Yeah, it was one of the worst ones. I'm not gonna lie. Your team's really good now, though. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm just happy that I got a lot of hazard stacking, which is what I mainly wanted, with Skarmory and Colossal both able to hazard stack and remove hazards, and Donphan as well, able to set hazards up and to remove them as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just something that Hero can put under his belt, though. He didn't have a great team last season, but he definitely still made it to playoffs. Which, when we do draft analysis, when we do draft analysis, when we do draft analysis though, and we talk about these teams, it's like we're talking about the teams overall as they look on paper, but we can't even take into consideration the fact of battle prowess of some of these people because somebody could take a really, really bad team or a really, really bad Pokemon and really just shine with that team and be really good with that team just because of the battle knowledge and the Knuckle Stack or anything. Like any Pokemon on the draft page has potential to do something. Like even this Rufflet over here on Jason Galade's team. Like, I highly doubt it ever comes, but if it does, it does something.
He said Rufflet. You're trying to be inspirational. He went Rufflet. I'm sorry.
yeah. Like, but I'm just saying, like, any Pokemon on the draft page has potential to do something and has potential to shine through their coach. The coaches are who are leading these Pokemon to do what they do. Rufflet could have a 6-0 sweep in one battle. Mm-hmm. And it shocks the universe, but that just may be Jason Galade's playstyle. He might be able to just perform so well and understand so well how Pokemon goes, and all of us have a decent understanding who are in this league. All of us are very, very good at the game, in one way or another. That a lot of these coaches are just good enough to pilot bad Pokemon. Like you even brought up Knucklestack. Like you said, Knucklestack. So when we make these draft analysis, really and truthfully, even though you have a bad team, like Hero proved, he had a bad team last season, but made it to playoffs. I had I wouldn't say a middle to above average draft last season, and I didn't make it to playoffs. A lot of it, and it wasn't because of, I'm just a terrible battler or something like that. I did have a lot of things go wrong every week. I would probably did, if we do like superlatives of last season, I would probably get the superlative of the one who spent the most time preparing for any battle. I took a whole week, or maybe even a week and a half, depending on how long I had between the battle, to prep for each of my battles. But there was just something that went wrong, like an unfortunate crit or an unfortunate para or unfortunate something. So I would end up losing by one. My differential overall for the season, I almost made it to playoffs, even with only winning like 3 weeks out of the main season. Mm-hmm. But just because my differential was just
really good,
really good.
You almost made it.
You had like a negative differential of 4. Like he kept losing by 1-0 or
it was pretty bad. Numb Nexus type stuff.
Yeah.
On my team, I want to point out my team is actually really bulky too. Like most of my mons can heal. Like Salamence can heal with Roost, Gardery can deal with Roost, Porygon with Recovery, and I have Wish Passing with Gardevoir and Leafeon. That's just something I wanted to mention.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good team, but I want to get to the final team. Last but not least, the Ohio Honchkrows and the gaming the Clo, I can never pronounce his name, who somehow got a Sun team. And honestly, I kind of rock with it. Ogerpon Heartflame is going to hit really hard, and Walking Wake is scary, and Sandy Shocks is good in and without Sun. I mean, I think this is like, I don't love the Terra Captains. I do like Zangoose. I'm not gonna lie, I do like Zangoose as the Terra Captain. I think it hits hard, but
I actually do also like Decidueye. I like Decidueye as a Terra Captain, except for like Grass. I think Ghost is a little bit better.
Yeah, me too.
But I think Decidueye is actually a decent Terra Captain.
Yeah, I think it could put in work. I mean, yeah, I really like Ogerpon on this team. I mean, Gliscor first round was a bit confusing, but if you use it correctly, it's stupid to play against.
Gliscor gets 3 sets of hazards right away. He has Stealth Rock spikes and T-spikes with Gliscor right away. Doesn't have to worry about anything.
That is true. I mean, I think this team is going to hit really hard and has some bulk with Gliscor, Mew, Galarian Slowbro. And it's going to hit hard. The last couple picks, like Ariados, Glaceon, Tauros, not the biggest fan of, personally.
I get why he got Tauros. Like, he lacked the fighting type. He really did lack a fighting type.
Yeah, but he could have found a different fighting type, personally.
Yeah, I think...
To me, Glaceon and Ariados are the only 2 that I'm iffy on. That's just a personal thing.
Yeah, like if he got rid of those 3 mons and got like a really good fighting type, like he got like, I don't even know what fighting types are like there at like 12 points or something. I know Okidoki is like 13. Yeah, like a Cobalion. Then you also get your Steel. So someone like that. Yeah, that's probably the only big weakness.
One thing I'll say about his team is that he doesn't have a Draco switching.
Oh my god, he doesn't even have a fairy. Oh my god, he doesn't have a... Oh my god, Dragons go insane against this team. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
That is the only... his team is actually really solid for a Sun team. Like, I actually like it.
Bro, my Kyurem goes crazy.
But I would say he's just a bit weak to, like I said...
Dragapult goes crazy.
Yeah, he needs a Dragon Resist because this is crazy.
Now I agree. Like, if he can change the last 3 mons and give himself a decent Steel and even a decent Fairy, like, his team will be very, very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, like,
I see. Yeah. In the Sun. That's another thing. And Ogerpon Flame, like, come on, like, it's going to just click buttons in the Sun.
Yeah, it's literally just going to click Ivy Cudgel over and over, and if it gets a Trailblaze up, it's over. It really is over. I'm pretty sure.
Like it seems really good. Like I'll point that out. Like I do like his team. It's just if he just had something for dragons, I think it would be a lot better.
Yeah, because you get dragon spammed on this team. Like I'm gonna be real. My Kira, like against this team, is
Drops
a
to
little.
Draco every time.
It drops to Draco or clicks freeze dry every time. It's actually insane against this team.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Dragapult doesn't even have to run Choice Scarf against this team.
No, it just clicks.
Like no, you run Scarf and drop a Draco every time it comes in. Like he
Yeah.
does not have a switch Scarf Draco
Yeah.
mid-year.
No, it's a little
Yeah.
crazy.
Other
But
than
Something I will say,
Am I-
Sandy Shocks
Sandy
Sandy
Shock's
Shock's
extremely
really-
underrated.
is
Yeah,
very
it's-
underrated. I use it. I use it all the time. As actually a lead stealth rock spike setter. Or you can just run it completely offensive.
It's a really good mon. I almost picked it up. I think it's a really, really, really good mon. I was in between
Yeah.
that and Rotom Heat. I was like, Hero knows this. I was really thinking about going Sandy Shocks because Hero was recommending it. I think that's it does so much because it can be bulky. It can run Iron Defense Body Press. It can Earth
Yep.
Power. It could Volt. It could Spikes. It could Stealth Rock. I mean, it's a really good mon. If he uses Sandy Shocks correctly, I think he can definitely put in work. And I like how it works with Gliscor because they're very different ground types.
Yes.
So they work pretty, and especially in the sun, because then the water weakness goes away. So yeah. So I think that will wrap it up for us. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, I'm excited to get this season going. Peace out, everybody.